Hey guys! I feel like we've been grinding for a minute and I'm done grinding, so I wanted to have a game day. So that's what I have decided to do. So for every class, we have been over this anatomy, so we're gonna just keep going with it. And I want you to know something. Um, I'm getting really good at taping phones to a chair. So, in case you're wondering, you loop the tape around the phone and tape it back up and then tape another piece as it comes off. Dang it. Okay, so now it's reinforced. We'll see. Maybe I don't get the degree for phone taping. So, okay, we're going to go over mostly bones today, but as you can see on the whiteboard, I have a couple of drawings that, of course, since I drew it, is as artsy as it can be. So I'm going to ask you questions about these things. I'm going to erase. Tried to make this video early and botched it. But we're going to go ahead and start with some bones. We're going to go to these pictures. I'm not going to give you any of the answers. You're just going to have to fill it out. So this is the way it's going to work. I'm going to point it out. I'm going to give you some verbal clues. So if you're looking at the picture going, then I'll give you verbal clues and you'll have to Google it out if your brain is like, I don't know. So I won't accept like IDK, I don't know, I don't care. None of those answers. You have to actually put in the real answer. All right, so starting at the top of the body, we're gonna go to the skull. So forensics, if you found this in a forest, that'd be pretty rad. Everyone else also rad because we talk about anatomy, so you can be like, right on, a human skull.
You betcha.
Okay, we're gonna start today with these bones. So they're on the top and sides of the skull. So if I point to my head here, right here, if you go right below it, that's a certain lobe. I'm not going to say it because the lobe is the same as the bone, but right here, split in half by the sagittal suture. Okay, so that's bone one. Sticking with the skull, we're going to go ahead and go to this guy. So it's your cheekbone. That's the verbal clue. The cheekbone. That's number two. Number three, let's go to this guy. The movable jawbone. What is that called? And let's stick here one more. To this bone. Back of the head. What's that one? Remember if he's skating along, falls, he can lose his vision. That's your clue. Okay, so done with the skull. Okay, next for bones. These are just some I randomly grabbed out of my bone bucket. So from the bone bucket, we're gonna start with this guy. Sits like this. Okay, so this would be the anterior portion. And this is a lateral malleolus, sports medicine, but the rest of you are like, I do not know what that means. It's sort of the ankle hat, but this is the smaller shin bone. Sits on the lateral side. So you don't tell big lies, you tell little. That's your clue. Next bone. We're gonna stick in the lower extremity for a second. Here we have the greater trochanter. Again, a sports med term, so some of you are like, we do not know these words. This is for everyone. This is the thigh bone. And remember, a very good weapon if you were a cave person, because this could knock a person out. But here we have the greater trochanter, lesser trochanter. Here's the patellar groove. This is the thigh bone. What is she? Okay, next, lower extremity again. I just grabbed a handful and they were lower extremities. Large shin bone. Okay, so this is I'm not going to give you the first name of it, but it's a tuberosity. So a bone growth where the patellar tendon attaches. This is the large shin bone. For sports med peeps, this is the medial malleolus. So large shin bone, medial side. Bone four. I grab four at a time. Whoopsh. This is Roadhouse's favorite. It is the shoulder blade. This would be the left one. Has a lot of features on it. It would be a really good shovel, I think so. But supraspinatus here, we've got some rotator cuff that attach, if you remember. Those muscles we talked about. Glenoid fossa. Okay, if you don't know this one and you've been in my class all year, nuts. Okay, the next 4, we're gonna go, these are upper extremities, so we're sticking to upper extremity now. The melonballer bone, it has a U right on it, sits in the forearm, pinky side, okay? Pinky side forearm bone, it's the fixed forearm bone, okay? And then we have this bone. I'm setting it down. I don't want you to think that like I'm abusing bones. There's a really soft couch that I'm just putting them on. This is also a forearm bone. It's super rad because it's thumb side and it's the rotating forearm bone. Okay. And this bone, also upper extremity. I always play this game with you. Is it a right or a left? This one is a right because there is the bicipital groove. Okay, so this one's a real funny one. It sits right here. Okay, I'll give you one more bone. That one's a little harder. Okay, we're gonna go with the very top. This is the very top of the cervical spine, the very top vertebra piece. There's a name for it. Here's your hint. In mythology, this dude holds up the whole world. In anatomy, this bone holds up the whole head. So there you go. Okay, next we're gonna go into these drawings because I have been over these systems with every class. And I figure, you know what? We're gonna review because anatomy is cool and fun and I like it. So sometimes I do what I like. So, okay, plus for the final, right? You need to remember this. Okay, this is the 60-second heart that we did a lot in class. I'm gonna point to the structures that I want you to label, and we'll pick out 4 of them, and then we'll move on to lungs, okay? So I'm gonna start with this. It's this valve. It's one of the 4 valves. And the hint, because sometimes you're looking at the picture, you're like, I do not know. The hint is this is the valve that separates the right atrium from the right ventricle, okay? So there's number 1 of this grouping, okay? Number 2, I'm gonna go ahead and go with these guys. Okay, these are vessels that are coming back from the lungs. This is the only one of these types of vessels that carries oxygenated blood, and it dumps into the left atrium. So that's the second one. Third one, we're gonna go with this. I'm gonna start it. This chamber of the heart. This is the one that's like a monster contraction and it sends blood to the body. So it's kind of the last chamber before it goes to the body. Sends oxygenated blood out. Okay, number 4 of this grouping, we're gonna go with this part. So this is the muscle of the heart. So that's your clue. Okay, last little grouping for your review. We've been over the respiratory system and I'm just giving you a small section of the respiratory system. So right here, it kind of doesn't look like the drawing we did in class because we did the guy doing the profile picture, and I just did from the trachea down. So there's your hint that this is so cartilaginous rings, that's the trachea. So there's your hint. We're pushing into those organs. So on this side, I didn't go into depth for the different smaller and smaller branches we get to, but I want you to just tell me what's the name of the organ that sits right in our ribs that helps us to breathe. That's this one. You might be like, what is that? Tell me. Okay, then the second one I want you to tell me is this. Okay, remember we have large branches that still have cartilaginous rings on them, and for as long as those cartilaginous rings go, it's this type of tube. I'm gonna say tube. Okay, And then they'll get smaller and smaller. So I've simplified this a lot. It's not like we just have like, oh, two smaller changes. We have smaller and smaller. These we're a series of tubes, right? These tubes get smaller and smaller. So we're just pretending like we got to way smaller tubes. And I want you to tell me, what are those? So it goes trachea, and then that one, and then the smaller one of these. That's what we're gonna get to, like smaller branches in the respiratory system. And then finally, I want you to tell me what that ultimate site of gas exchange is called in the respiratory system. So those little, they kind of look like grapes. What are those? Okay. So that was a review, and I want to see how well you did. It was kind of a quiz. I'm not giving you the answers here. I'm just going to grade it. So good luck.